Hello, my name is Ken Schultz, and I live in Plainfield, Illinois. I'm a pastor of Crosswinds Church, a church I planted in around 2005, and making a video on AI in ministry, something that you can utilize to help and enhance your ministry. My background, I was in IT before I became a church planter and pastor. Also was in the entertainment business, so I've been around business and always liked technology. And when this technology came out, I was a little cautious of it, but I started studying it and I started finding use cases that will help us in ministry and help us spread the gospel. When Gutenberg developed the printing press, it helped us spread the gospel so people could have their own copies of the Word of God. And through this technology, you can also spread the Word of God and study the Word of God and improve your sermons and do a lot of different things with the technology. It can be a great thing for brainstorming and creating images and different things. So I'm going to show you a free tool that I use that pastors and church planners can use absolutely free. And church members, if you're teaching Bible studies or wanting to go deeper in the Word of God, you can utilize this tool. So let me show you the tool. So you probably have heard of services like OpenAI or maybe Google Gemini or those things. This is basically a UI to access AI models, and it's, I think, beyond what those others services can do, because you can use all those services right within this. So you just need to go to ui.acts19.us, and then you're going to get this screen. If you haven't signed up, if you don't have an account, you're going to have to sign up. So you just put in your full name and then an email and password, and then sign in. Now, if you've never used a chatbot, basically you type in here what you want to chat about. You first, though, want to pick a model. And like I said, why this is, I think, better than some of the commercial services are out there is, one is privacy, and two is you can use every model imaginable here versus you'd be using just the one vendor here. So if you look under models here, you can see you have Grok 2, which is by XAI, Elon Musk. You have DeepSeek, which is a Chinese model. You've got Google Gemini, some of their models. Also some Mistral. This is Devistral, a great coding model. And Qwen 2, it's another Chinese model made by Alibaba, and then Granite, which is made by IBM. So you have a whole bunch of models that you can use absolutely free of charge right here. Now, why I say it's more private is you have external models. Those are some of the big top tier companies. You see the little thing there that shows that's an external model. But you also have local models that work just on my server. So your data is not going out to OpenAI or ChatGPT. So if you're working on your church budget or something like that, you don't have the worry of having to send that up to a large company. So these are just private models that are some of the strongest private models that you can use locally as well. So if you're not used a chatbot, it defaults to GPT-4o Mini, and then you can just ask it a question. Give me commentary on John 3:16, let's say. And it's going to output some basic commentary on that verse so you can learn more about that verse. Now you can ask questions on any of those things by just hitting an like maybe copying this, copy it and say, tell me more. See what it comes up with. Okay, and then so you can go deeper on the text. Another way you can use this model is you can create a new chat. Now it keeps a chat history, so you can go back to that old chat history, but I'm going to start a new chat. What I want to show you here is I'm going to add another model to it, and I'm going to say the DeepSeek chat and GPT-4o Mini. And then I'm going to use a prompt that I pre-created. If you hit the / key, you can see some pre-created prompts that I have made. And so I have one that is about commentary. And so I'm going to find that. They're usually alphabetical, so commentary. And it already props in the question for me, and I just have to put in the verse, John 3, let's say do 17 this time. And if I hit enter, Now I'm going to get a parallel, so I can compare the answers between two different models. One is ChatGPT, written by OpenAI, and the other one is the Chinese model DeepSeek, and I can get two different commentaries. Basically, they'll stress different things, but that helps me, and I could add up to 4 or 5 different models if I wanted to compare what I got from them. So, and they all operate a little bit different speed, but as soon as that finishes. So that's one way you can use a model to find commentary or to find any kind of information. Let's say you need legal advice. What is the law for renters in Illinois as far as eviction, specifically Will County? So if you need to ask a legal question, ChatGPT passed the bar. So you could ask specific questions and maybe get some answers to get you started, or if somebody that you're ministering to needs some answers, you can find out information. If you want to add another commentary and see what somebody else thinks, let's say what Grok thinks, I added that, I can regenerate that response, and it's going to keep the original response, but now I'm seeing if there's any different information I get in a different model, so I can go back and forth and look between the different responses. So I have 3 different responses because the ChatGPT regenerated its response, and I had an initial one, and then I have one by Grok too. So those are a couple different models, and so if you need to ask a legal question, you can do that. If you needed to make a lease for another church renting your space, you could create a basic lease, and if you wanted to have a lawyer look it over, but it's going to probably cost you less money to utilize it that way. Here's something else you could do with it is, let's say you need a sermon background for something. You can actually create images if you click the image button. Now I'm just going to do something silly, make a photorealistic image of a cat. And I'm going to let that do that. And also I'm going to join you in the corner here so you can see me here. But now it's going to make a image. It's going to take about 30-40 seconds per image. But you'll have a non-copyrighted image that you can utilize in a newsletter or in a Sunday school lesson or wherever you want to use that image. So that made a photorealistic image of a cat. Now, if I wanted to, I could take that. Here's another way I could do that. Take the image click off and then paste in there and says, maybe say, make a good prompt for the following. Just use natural language, and it's going to create a highly detailed prompt of a domestic cat. You can read the prompt there, but basically I'm going to hit that little photo button that was below it, and it's going to generate an image based on the prompt it just created. So you'll probably get a little more detailed image. I didn't do a bad image there of the cat. It doesn't really fit into ministry. You might want to ask about a cross or something else, but I'm just showing you the capability of it. And it does come out in a PowerPoint size. I've got this kind of fixed to that. And there's another. He's a little bit cuter cat. I'm not really a big cat fan, but just so make the image prompt of a cat surfing. So I just had another idea, right? So now I've got another way to create an image. This might be a little bit fun. I could say it's a cartoon image or something like that as well. And I'll be showing you another tool on another day that really can do more refinement of images. But this is a good basic tool to get some images done if you needed to do some of the background. So if you already have the prompt, you just hit the generate image. If you don't have a prompt, there's a cat surfing, kind of cute cat surfing. So if you want to just create a whole new image of something, then you just hit the image button there. If you want it to create a prompt, let it create the prompt and then hit this little button here to generate the image. So another way you can chat with the model is just ask it a question by dictating to. So what was the history of crucifixion in the first century? And it's going to now, it just took it from my voice instead of me typing it in, and it's going to give me some information on what I just asked it for. And that's just from one model. I could, get from different models. Here's another prompt I created that I think is kind of neat. Original language. So let's say I wanted to look up John 3:16 in the original language. It's going to bring up the Koine Greek in a table. So I could, very quick way to research something on each word of the verse. And if I wanted to create that into a PowerPoint, or I just downloaded it as a CV by hitting this CSV. And so once that's downloaded, I could then open that in Excel and then format it however I wanted to as well. So if you do anything with a table, you could definitely download it right into something like that. Here's something else that's kind of cool. Let's say you need to create a website for your church. I'm going to use a different model right now. I'm going to use, let's try, DeepSeek R1. Now this is a local model. It's free to use. But let's say I wanted to do a website. I have a prompt that I create website creation, and after this put in whatever you want to tell it, colors, whatever. This is just basically telling it how to code it. And let's say for Crosswinds Church in Plainfield. Focus, you can put in your church mission or whatever else. And then if you hit send message, now this one's going to go a little bit slower because this is actually a thinking model. So you have models that just predict. DeepSeek is a thinking model. So you see how it says it's thinking there? You can actually see the chain of thought. It's coming up with a plan to create the text. So you can actually see its chain of thought of how it's thinking about this to answer. And that also helps for accuracy because other models just kind of predict text. This actually thinks over text, and it's writing the code. It's writing HTML code. I'm not a coder, but when this finishes, you're going to have the basis of a website, and then you could keep reprompting to get it exactly how you would like it to look. So we're going to let this go, but it's writing HTML code for you that could be either cut and pasted into an existing website, depending on what you're asking it to do. And it can write Python or other languages that might be handy, React, different computer languages, pretty much any computer language it writes. It does really well on Python, HTML, CSS. So when this finishes, it should give me a preview to the right of the site that it's creating. Okay, so it came up with a design, and it tells me how to implement it in the site. So it shows all of that website. Now you can just download that. If I hit copy, I just downloaded that HTML to my computer, and I could then upload it to a website. I'd probably change the name to index.html, and it would be live on a website. So great way to create a website today. And let me go back to how that looked. So I didn't even try to hit, that has an about us, and oops, I hit the wrong button there. There we go. So you can look at the actual code in the preview. I have to, that's called artifacts when it does the preview. Quick refresh. There's the preview again. So that's the preview of the site created. So I could hit about us, but it seems when I hit that, that link's in a bad place, so I'd have to fix that. But you can create a website very easily with this tool. just by using natural languages. You can also chat with a conversation. Please give me information about John the Apostle.
John the Apostle, also known as John the Beloved or John the Evangelist, is one of the most prominent figures in Christianity and one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. Here are key points about him: early life, family.
Okay, I'm going to cut off that conversation, and I'm not sure, we might have got a little bit of feedback coming back through, but it will talk back to you. You can just have a conversation back and give you the information, so you can just listen to the information, sit in a chair with your eyes closed and talk to your laptop or your phone or whatever device and ask questions of the different models. Let's see, what else what I might want to do. We did do an image. Oh, how to read a document. So let's say you wanted to learn about a document that you have on your computer. You can just look for, let's see, a document. Okay, and so that was an invoice for something, and I just say, please tell me about this document. I just believe it's good to be polite. You don't have to say please, but anyways, I know it's a machine, but so that's shows about that document. I don't even have to go into the document. I can just find out information about that document like that. What if I wanted to find out about a photo? This is kind of an interesting use case, because I could use, let's use this Granite vision model. So use vision models if you want to look at a photo. So if I picked a photo, I could upload a photo, or I could capture a photo, of me, but I can go and find, let's see, photo. Let me go to my photos. Let's see what pictures. A picture of my wife. Okay, so please describe this photo. Okay, now I gave a description of my wife. Now here's something interesting. Let's say you had a photo of somebody you wanted to use on a website, but you couldn't use that photo for whatever reason. You just wanted that kind of type for copyright issues, like pictures of a kids or something for an event. You can then make a picture based on the description it just did, and we'll see how it changed my wife. I don't tell her I did this, but it should go based on her picture and create a new image, or based on this description. Now it won't look exactly like her because it's working off a text description, but the text description came from her photo, so we'll see what it comes up with. But this is an interesting use case to have uncopyrighted. Now that looks nothing like my wife. It's got a nice smile, maybe similar color hair, different background. I'm gonna try that again, see what else I may get. But it did create another person that doesn't exist for a website. That if you just needed a smiling face of somebody. So we'll see what else we come up with here. I guess I can get myself in a lot of trouble doing this. But it can be pretty accurate, and there's different vision models. So that's how you'd use a vision model, one that says vision. It actually can look at a picture and think based on that picture. You can take a picture of something broken and say, how do I fix this? Give me step-by-step instructions, and it may then provide you accurate instructions on how to do it. So now it redid it, maybe a little bit better photo. It still doesn't look anything like my wife, but it's a smiling, happy woman. And with the wood background, it's going to look different because it's just working off a text description. But that is a way you could create, let's say you had a picture of kids in Sunday school and you wanted just kind of generic smiling kids, you could adjust the prompt to get what you want. I want to show you also, you're going to have a bunch of different prompts, so you could create different folders to keep your prompts in if you like to organize that way. So I could take that And now I could keep that for the future in my pictures folder, and now those are in there. And if I had sermon stuff, I can put it in my sermon folder. And so that's a way of organizing my chats, because after a while you could have lots of different chats that you're working for. You also have some ability to do some setting changes. So if you want to look up the documentation for this UI, you can look up the documentation, keyboard shortcuts, different things to use for keyboard shortcuts, and archive chats, what you can do with them. You can archive your chats or unarchive chats. So if you don't want to keep your chats, these would be your different chats. So you can go back and look at research you've done in the past and look through it. So this is just a brief overview of the tool, but I encourage you to use it. It is free, and that was my goal, is to be able to make it free. And these are some of the top models out there. I'm constantly researching new models and new ways for the church to utilize this technology so that they can enhance what they're doing. And I'll do some videos in the future on more specific use cases that you can use with this tool and other tools that I have that might help you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for joining me today for this quick video.